In the Indian approach, due to this inside out approach, due to the lack of any validation, because it is mostly intuition based, lot of abuse has occurred. Many of the people who knew something, they have tried to actually project themselves as some sort of extraordinary figures, and they have tried to create a cult around them.
Quackery.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll answer that. So basically,
how to harmonize these two
yeah,
approaches?
so I understand. So there is more abuse possible in the inner science, because what is really happening in me, you can't tell. What is happening outside in my laboratory, I have an accelerator or I have a telescope, I reported something, you can come and check it out. Whereas you can't check out what I experienced inside. So in the past, there was a certain kind of quality of character or a certain kind of a quality of person. And the other check and balance was that many other people were doing, it was not just one guy doing it, many people were doing this experiment in their own mind. So many people could validate that this happens. I have had this experience, I have had this experience, and so on. Now, because society is such that these kind of things are very rare, there is a huge opportunity for quackery. And so I could just make something up and make a fool out of you and take you for a ride and so on. So this is why I think that this inner inquiry should not be seen as part of religion, but as part of science. And it should be subject to the same rigor, peer reviews, validation. We need laboratories where people are able to do this. So interestingly, that is exactly what the West is doing. You have laboratories, you take a course in cognitive science and you have a lab. And what are they teaching in the lab? They're teaching some Indian technique. And this technique there are two ways of validation. One is, has it been replicated and have others experienced it? But more importantly, they're measuring third person functional MRI, they're measuring brain states, brain chemistry. So there are instruments that are able to go deeper and deeper, finer and finer instruments all the time, that are able to see some kind of a correlation between what you are experiencing and what the instrument is measuring. So if I'm able to say that this experience is causing me happiness, okay, and then a lot of people in a questionnaire say they're happy, it's kind of a thing. And then this measurement detects a certain pattern that all of them share. Then they might say this may be the pattern of chemistry which corresponds to, or brain neurology which corresponds to some happy state. And then if that is the case, then, if I have a technique which generates this state and I'm calling it happy, then that's a kind of, not a validation, but it's a kind of correlation. So this is very embryonic, but I'll tell you, this is where the Nobel Prizes are going to be in the next 5-10 years, in breakthroughs in neuroscience, mind science, the nature. This is a huge field that India is not paying attention to. And this is the amount of literature, the amount of funding, the amount of experiments that's going on in the West is just very extraordinary.